Hey there. I am super excited to introduce you to Bobby Kay here in a moment. I want you to know that there's something so inspiring about his story. In the midst of this pandemic that we've all been facing, one of the things that has it's been heartbreaking is that we speak, my team and I, to probably 150 people a month, and people come in daily that tell us it's just the time I'm going to have to close my business. I've got to shutter after all these years or even decades. And it's just not the case. What we find daily with our clients, but Bobby's a perfect example, is if you know exactly the right message and you know how to tell your story in a compelling way, and if you know how to message what you do in the right way, and you can get the right message into the hands of the right audience, your business can flourish no matter what is happening in this world. Now, I want to say the work that we do with our clients is we get the message in the hands of the right audience. And that means both your target audience and the media that serves them. So it's in Bobby's story, you're going to hear him talking about social media and some of the things that he's done, as well as bona fide major media. But because he's been being courted right now by HGTV. He's a superstar, this guy. But there's social media, major media. It's all part of his plan. It's different for every one of our clients, but I really want you to try this video on and look at your own business as you do from the perspective of what would it look like if I, like Bobby, had my business go up by 40% during a pandemic? You know, the times when everybody out there is screaming, the sky is falling for good reason. But he proved that it doesn't have to be that way, that you can chart your own course, be the captain of your own ship, no matter what is happening in the world. I cannot wait for you to hear his story from his own mouth. Enjoy. Hey, everybody. So happy to introduce you to this amazing human, Bobby Kay.
Howdy.
Man, what a delight to have you here. It has been a whirlwind for you, and I'm just so excited to share your journey with people, because it's funny, as I talk to people every single day that have problems that with their business. It's, let's face it, for many it's a really tough time, and you are not experiencing that. And I tell people it doesn't have to be that way, but you know, I've got many clients that this is the best time they've ever had in their business, and I thought, you know what, let me not put it in my words, you put it in yours. So Bobby, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
such a delight. So there's just a million things that I could ask you, but it's, you know, one of the things I went back to that initial time you and I very first spoke on your very first strategy session. And I happened to be the person assigned to you. And one of the questions I'd asked you right up front is I'd asked you to talk to me about what wasn't working in terms of your visibility and your brand awareness. And you
Yeah.
said, well, people just don't know about me. And I'm not even well known locally. So how am I going to do what I want to do? And you are somebody who is such a difference maker. And your eye is on, like you said, I want to use TV for the greater good, which is so, that says everything about you. I want to fund benevolent causes. I want to give money to a legacy, animal causes, cancer research. And you're doing everything right. So would you tell us about your journey and tell us who you are? And
Sure. Wow, you make me sound so good. Let me tell you. So, it is a journey. That is the truth. It wasn't easy for a long time. I really grinded and worked hard, and it's still a grind. And I think it's Tillman Fertitta. Is that how you say his name? The owner of Landry's and the Golden Nugget and all that stuff. I saw something the other day where he was talking, and I think innately I have something that he was talking about. He was talking about the paddle's not too far behind. So it's almost like if you get comfortable, you're going to get whacked on the butt and kind of brought back down to reality. And I have that always. Like, even though I'm technically crushing it right now, I don't think that way. I'm always looking to, okay, how can I improve? What are some of the other things that I can do? What am I not doing enough of? And what am I spending too much time on where I need to back it up a little bit that's taking me out of my game? Something simple that I did the other day, I realized that YouTube has been a huge factor for me, and it's like really, really helping my business. And I love doing it. It's like super fun. It's my creative just outlet. But the day to day of all the projects that I run with my company was starting to get to me. And I was like, you know what? Back up. The reason you're so busy is because of YouTube. So stop taking yourself out. So I broke down my days of Monday is design day. I'm a landscape designer, you know, for anybody. Tuesday is my appointment day where I just block it out and I go. Wednesday, Thursday is YouTube day. Friday, we go back to designing. And I keep it super simple so that I stay in my lane, I stay in my happy zone, and I don't get too far away. And if you do that, if you know what you're good at and what you really like doing, and you take care of all the people around you on the way, you're going to be successful. I always talk about create raving fans. Just create raving fans. I heard it at Tony Robbins' Business Mastery. It was a big investment for me at the time. And it was a little bit of a gamble. But when you hear from millionaires and billionaires, like literally out of their mouths, that energy in that room, you just get sucked right in. You start laser focusing on what they say. And I'm already past last year's numbers, and we're in July. I still got 5 months.
Yeah,
And we're in a
and in
pandemic.
a pandemic.
Yeah. And we're in a pandemic because I don't use that as an excuse or crutch. I created something that it's like, all right, well, if we can't do this, what can we do? You have to think creatively on what are some of the things that it can offer people. So I started offering more online possibilities. As a designer, I have it set up so they can send me photos, they can have Zoom calls with me, and I can design for people all over the country. And YouTube has created that. So by me grinding for a year and not getting a lot of traffic, all of a sudden I'm seeing the fruits of all that labor, all those late night editing sessions, all the time learning what's a good light, what's a good camera, how do you speak into the thing, how do you even pitch, what's my style, is coming to, and people are contacting me all over the country. Now we're doing not only designs, but I'm doing projects for people in different states. I just landed another one in Georgia. We did one in Georgia. I'm doing another one. It's just, the point is anybody can do it. If you find something you're really good at and you're passionate about, go. Like that's your zone, and stick to it and put your blinders on.
So many of the people that come to us don't, they've got an idea for something or a passion for something, but they don't know how to express what they do in a way that other people understand. And it's as though I have actually heard people say things like, well, I just, when people get to know me, or they know what we do, or that they've been a client for a long time, then they become raving fans. But the problem is they've got it backward. You have to be able to articulate in a compelling way what it is that you do in order to have people become clients, in order to have them become raving fans. What difference do you think that it makes having a compelling message from the get-go?
I got this answer on lock. And the reason I know this is because even someone as comfortable as I am in front of people and in front of the camera, that's just kind of a natural thing for me, gets stuck. Oh, I got to make sure that this is right, or oh, I'm not ready, or I haven't studied up on this, or blah, blah, blah. Just do it. Stop making excuses. For me, it's just press record. Like, oh, I had to have a good camera, or I had to have the good light, or whatever it was. That was just a YouTube example. The point is, in order to create raving fans, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone, and you're going to have to start experimenting with things that you're not necessarily ready for. But when are you ever ready? It's like my wife is pregnant for the second time, but on her first pregnancy, was she ready? Did she really know what was going to, but she did it, and now we're having another one. The point is, like, get out of your comfort zone. And that's actually a good spot to be, because it means you're doing something different to create a different result. If you're trying to have a different I mean, it's that old cliche, or what is the thing? If you keep doing the same thing and
Right.
trying to
You can't
expect
expect a different
yeah,
result by doing the same thing. Yep.
it truly is. If you're starting to be uncomfortable and you're starting to be unsure of yourself, you're actually going down the right path, is how I would say. I know that
Yes.
sounds weird, but do
No.
that.
I mean, you recall, tell me if you recall, there's a thing that we say to people in the process of becoming a client, because there's this experience when you are pressing up against the edge of your comfort zone and stuff becomes so uncomfortable, and it feels as though everything in you is screaming out no. And what we one of the things, I'll just give a little sneak preview, this is one of the things we talk about in the program, but it's there's the survival elements of the brain: pons,
Yeah.
medulla oblongata, brainstem, amygdala, most primarily, but they're there to ensure the survival of the organism. Now, being physiologically alive is 180 degrees away from aliveness. They ensure that we survive, like we're still breathing and we have a pulse, but
Right.
aliveness is on the other side of that comfort zone. And so one of the things we talk about in that process of expanding past the edge of your comfort zone is you may experience excitement and terror simultaneously as you press out of that comfort zone. And you've traversed that so well.
And
And
don't
for
think for a second that I don't, that is exactly the sweet spot. Excited and scared at the same time, because
yes,
I've done 80 something YouTube videos, which isn't a ton, but you know what's enough to have a little bit of experience, right? And I still get little butterflies in my stomach, and I'm in a room by myself.
mm,
There's nobody watching me, but I still get nervous. And that's okay, because I'm excited and I want to do a good job. But at the same time, it's like, you just got to do it, you know?
and it it's heartbreaking when we speak to hundreds of people a month, and people come in and say, oh gosh, this just feels uncomfortable, and then ergo they extrapolate that and go, so I probably shouldn't, I probably should think about it, I probably should pray, I probably should. And I'm like, this is why your business is failing in the first place, because you're unwilling to go outside of your comfort zone, whatever that is. And
Yeah.
it's just, I acknowledge you have been grinding for so long, and it's really started to pay off. Your videos, thousands of views, thousands of thousands. Your subscribers have doubled. Your
Yeah.
subscribers on TikTok doubled. It's just, you are in every way.
Well, and one thing I want to interject is I am this big on YouTube. Like I'm a little dot. Like I don't have a big channel. You don't have to have a big channel to grow your business and be successful, because what you're becoming is an expert. You're an expert and you're the face of your industry. And I'm telling you, people see it locally, globally, whatever you
Yes.
put out, the vibe you put out, that's the tribe that you attract. So I may only have, say, 2,000 something subscribers right now, but I'm telling you, they're raving fans. They watch, they pay attention. So don't worry about the numbers and all that stuff.
Yes.
Just be you and be an expert.
You're so spot on. And as a human being, who gives a darn how many followers you have? It's
Doesn't matter.
irrelevant. As a business owner, it starts to matter. But it only matters in as much as you're able to convert them and serve them.
Right.
And if you're unable to galvanize your audience and turn them into raving fans, it doesn't matter at all. There's somebody who came to us that had over 100,000 followers, specifically on
Wow.
Instagram. And she said, I can't even get an email list together.
Hmm.
So they were following, but not taking any action other than like, like,
Okay,
who
so I
cares?
got something on this. I think I got something on this. I'm kind of a newbie, I'm learning. I'm learning like anybody else. I know my industry and I know what I'm talking about, but when it comes to the social media and things like that, obviously there's incredibly successful people, and that's okay. But with this person in particular, she's got all these followers and I've got a smaller following. I think that the difference might be that I'm putting out content that isn't about me. It's for the person I'm talking to. I want to help people. I want them to learn from what I'm doing in my mistakes or what I'm doing right and apply it to their spaces. So if you are out there and over there with somebody else and you're truly for them, it's going to resonate. And I'm telling you, it comes back tenfold. And that's how you grow a business. It's not about you. As soon as you learn that, you're going to take off.
You are 100% right. It's the first thing.
She's probably not doing that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
She's
well,
just putting out
not,
cute
it's just,
pictures,
beautiful
her
picture.
in an
Yeah.
outfit or this or that. I don't know.
It doesn't make a difference in the quality of anybody's life. It doesn't solve their problems.
That's right.
It's why that particular thing that you just said about make it about them, not about you, is the first lesson that I teach in my masterclass. So we'll drop the link to that here, as well as dropping the link to all Bobby's social properties, so you can follow him and get to see what does it look like when somebody is doing this on the court. What does it look like when somebody is making it about their audience? So, because you do that so masterfully. You know, while we were working together, one of the things you said is, I have zero time. My business is blown up so big. And this is in the middle of a pandemic, when everybody comes on the phone with us every day, with one of us on the team, and insists business is hard. It's not going to work. And I'm not going to disagree that that is the truth for many. I'm not trying to be insensitive about that, but it doesn't mean it has to be your truth, particularly if you are an expert and you solve problems for people. This can be the best time ever.
This point that you're making right here, being an expert and building a portfolio, or building, just taking basic questions and answering them for people to help them, you may not see the fruits of that labor for a year. And I'm proof of it. I know that I was just at the grind, and I believe in this. I'm just going to keep going. I wanted to quit a couple times. Like, trust me, I get it, but it's not going to last forever. And you're going to build skills, and you're going to build comfort, and you're going to start to be a different person in a way. Your mindset of, I really can do this, and I'm the man, and or whatever you want to say to yourself, you'll build that. And that is worth its weight in gold, because I promise you 10 years from now, you keep doing things like that, it's unavoidable. You literally cannot fail when you start to do stuff like that.
You're so encouraging, and you were that way in the program, supporting all the other people in there. And it's just, it's so inspiring to see you fulfilling all these dreams. One of the things you talked about is when you and I very first met, you said, one of the reasons I'm doing this is I don't want my wife to have to work at a job she hates. I want to be able to take care of her and the whole family. And that's why I want to expand the business, and I want to help people and solve their problems and really be a benevolent force for good. And I see you doing every single thing that you brought up. How is that? What's it like?
It's about energy. If you say it and you put it into existence, and then you say, okay, this is what I want. You reverse engineer from what you want. You go backwards. All right, I want this. All right, what are some of the things that I would have to do, stepping stones, to get to this? Then you start to implement things, and you stick to it. Mondays, I'm going to do this because that's going to help me get to this stepping stone. And Tuesday, I'm going to do this. And you make time because that's what you want. If you don't make time, you're not a bad person. You're not lazy. Maybe you just don't want that as much. And maybe you start to go down a different path, and it leads you to somewhere else. The point is, you have to get clear on what you really want, what your message is, reverse engineer, and then put things in place to make that happen and create it. And just because I say, I want to be on HGTV. I totally want to have my show on HGTV, right? Well, maybe that's not God's plan, even though that's what I say. But because I'm doing all these little steps, maybe it leads me to something else that I never saw. The point is, you're not really in control, but you can put actions in place that will get you to a great place. Does that make sense?
It makes such good sense. My smile just suddenly went ear to ear as you said HGTV, because of all the
That's the
good,
majors.
yeah, that, well, all the momentum that you've been having toward that. Are you free to share any of that at this point?
Yeah. I mean, I get calls from producers in different places all over the country that set up Skype interviews. It has not developed into but the point is it happened because of the things I'm doing, the actions I'm doing. And don't, like I said, that might not lead to there, but it'll lead to something else. The point is, you can't create any of these phone calls and these opportunities if you don't start being in action with what you want. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't start taking the steps. You don't make that call to that podcaster. You don't send a DM to this particular person because you get held up in your head like, who am I to talk to this person? They'll never take me serious. No, screw that stuff. Like, just do it. You know what I mean? You got nothing to lose. Go for it and just
And
take little steps.
you've been going for it in such a big way, and it's so inspiring to see. And I got to say, you guys out there watching this, Bobby is humble. So and I get it, what you're saying about, well, it hasn't manifested yet. I, in addition to doing over 100 media interviews myself, I also used to write TV under contract, CBS, Paramount Pictures, HBO, NBC, Fox. So I know the game of creating of TV shows and all the hoops that you jump through and all the machinations and everything that goes on behind the scenes. What I want you all to know is big players in the game have been repeatedly calling Bobby and having him sit down, recording and putting together all this stuff repeatedly with the same people with the intention of creating his own show. So this is the kind of thing that I've been doing this for, I don't know, 15 years. And I'm at that stage right now where they're looking at creating a show around me. And I've got a production company and like that. You, a couple of years in, you just took this program with me and they're already doing this. This stuff is unheard of. The team and I have been getting together going, this is insane. This is amazing. The velocity with which you're moving to that level where they're considering you for your own series, unparalleled. Not to step in and come in and guest an episode.
Very quickly. This is amazing, and I love hearing it. Don't get me wrong, but I want this for everybody. Everybody who has a dream, everybody who wants something, everybody who wants to help people. I'm telling you, don't worry about all that crap. Like, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. This is so cool and it would be amazing. Don't get me wrong. But that's not why I'm doing it. I do it because I want to help people and I want to make a difference in their life. And if you do that, all the other stuff will come. It just will. But you got to get clear on what can you offer people? Like what not necessarily that makes you different. Be you. Just be you, because there's nobody else like you on the planet. And if you do that, you're going to create what it is that God put you here for. I truly believe that. I do.
Yes.
You know?
And to what you just said, you don't be yourself. If you're not authentic, the whole point is moot.
Don't be Gary Vaynerchuk. He's Gary. Be you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's lots of people who try and mimic people and do what they're doing.
And it's absolutely a recipe for disaster, because what ultimately gets you those media appearances, that gets you the raving fans and all of it, is because there's something authentic in you that's being expressed. And I did want to add a little addendum, which is, you said you don't be somebody else, but solve the problem in the unique way you do. Like the way you solve the people's problems around their homes and their yards and their landscaping is not like anybody else does. There's your unique, authentic self-expression comes out in the solutions you provide. So make sure that whatever way you're sharing your message gets that point across as well. I'm saying that for everybody who's watching, who's looking at it like, how do I get a message out? How do I let people know I exist? Because most people who come to us are gripped by anonymity, invisibility. Nobody knows that they're here outside of their one little corner of the world, and they have a deep message on their heart, a deep commitment on their heart, like you'd said about God put this message there for you to fulfill. And the privilege of a lifetime is to be here and help you all do this. My commitment is to bring difference makers out in front of the world. So
Yeah, and it's an amazing mission. It's really cool because people, they need a playbook, almost like okay, I want this, but where do I even get started? Like what should I do? How can I even get going? And that's what your course and your message and your team is doing. You're crafting, you're taking all the bumps out of the road. It doesn't mean they're not going to have to work and grind and do the hustle. That's with anything. It doesn't just happen. But if you hadn't thought, oh, of doing it that way, or heard something, oh, duh, like it's so obvious when you hear it, but if you've never even thought that way, or that's why you go to pros, that's why you get business coaches, that's why you talk to people, that's why you collaborate with people, that's why you surround yourself with the kind of people that you want to be in circles with and be. If you want to be an alcoholic, go to a bar. I mean, it's obvious. You know what I mean? Like that's just, it's energy, I guess I would call it. That sounds kind of foo-foo, but
no, it doesn't.
that's
I mean, there's an old saying which goes something along the lines of, if you want the best predictor of your success, just look at the success of the people around you. So
right.
for the best predictor of your results, look at the community around you. It's why we intentionally deliver our work in a group setting for, for a lot of it. There's still one-to-one work, but it's that group dynamic of being surrounded by other business owners, by other people with a message on their heart who are here to make the world a better place and engaged in that same activity of, how do I get my message out to the world? And it's
Well,
it's
it makes you that much better.
mm,
When you're around people like that and you hear their messages, it starts to awaken things in you that maybe you hadn't realized. And then all of a sudden the conversations and the things start flowing. You're like, oh my gosh. And a new idea sparks, or a new niche sparks that you hadn't thought of because somebody saw something in you that you hadn't thought of. And it's boom, that's your path.
yes. And that something about that group dynamic is also magical because it gives you an opportunity to the people that are ahead of you in the program. You can look forward, and it foreshadows what's to come, and you can mirror and match what they've done. It's what enables you all to move with such velocity. I mean, it took me a decade to get my first media appearance, and we were able to shorten it down to 8 weeks for you guys. So just to
Yeah.
get everything you need to do take that same journey. So
And with powerful, good people, but have been in the game, like know the game and have been on a high level. Like you're hearing from the people that you're dying to get in front of, basically, like
right.
what they need, what they want. It's like, okay, this is where you are. This is where I want you to be. So how are we going to get there? And then you help craft them.
Yeah, I mean, it's why I brought the gatekeepers inside, so you all would have access to them every single week.
Right.
You've done a beautiful job with that. So
I'm not done.
okay, imagine it's, there's the people here that have a message on their heart. They have a business that they created to make a difference in the lives of others, to solve the big problems in
Yeah.
people's lives, their businesses. What would you say to them, particularly those who feel like, well, it's a pandemic, I'm just going to have to suffer for a while. It's just not going to work for a period of time.
I got what to say to them. Stop being selfish. You being small is not helping other people who need you. And you're actually hurting like, get off yourself and help other people. You're being selfish by not getting your message out there. And you may think that it's not ready or it's not worthy, or no, it is, and you need to help people.
That
It's
right
that
there.
simple.
Yes. Thank you. That is just, that's everything.
You probably didn't think I was going to say stop being selfish, but Sometimes you need a little bit of a jar, like
Yeah.
just do it.
No, I didn't think that, but that's what makes you so extraordinary is that you speak from the heart. So
It's the
thank
only
you.
way I know how to
for-
talk. So there you go.
You were amazing. I look forward to watching you continue to rise and
Thank you.
make
Thank
such a
you.
difference for people. It's a funny thing. It's like when we'd first spoken, you were talking about what you provide for people in their homes. And then we entered into this period of time where home became the most important thing next to family for people. Family,
Yeah,
faith, home, all of it. And here you were and are making this sanctuary for people's homes and letting them know that in the way that you message what you do. Now, here's the catch. You were already doing that, but you found a way to continue to speak it through this fog of the fear and the concern of COVID-19 to pierce through that, to serve people at such a huge level. I mean, you've had to bring in all these extra contractors and staff members and team and just to fulfill all, you've had
yeah.
the best breakdown ever. I can't possibly fulfill all of the work that I've got. And
I know
it,
it sounds so. I don't. I don't even know. It sounds bad to say out loud. Oh, I have so much work. What a problem! Like it's like the best problem ever. I get it. Um, One thing I'll circle back to is remember when I said I was breaking down my weeks
yes.
or my week into days.
Hmm.
Even though you can have that kind of business too, you can create that crazy business. Don't get out of your lane. That's a little tip I'm going to give you, a Bobby K tip, because that's what I do in my YouTube videos. But stay in your lane, because as soon as you start to go off, then your happiness, I think it starts to be compromised, and that's not a cool place to be. So get people to do the things that you don't like doing so you can stay in your sweet spot and keep growing and
Yes.
developing what you want. Spend a little bit of money. Once you make some money, put it back in, hire somebody. I had to let off the reins a little bit. But once I did, everything started growing for me. It's
Yes.
tough when you're a small business owner to do that. The trust factor, like they're not going to do it right, or this is going to, but you're never going to grow either. So
And now you've even started doing that with your video editing and some of these things. You have
yeah,
to be free to be the CEO here. So you have and you've
right.
done that so well. You've been really scaling
It
in
was
a
fun
beautiful
today.
way.
I filmed 5 YouTube videos today, just batch filming. Batch filming, good tip for anybody who's looking to do a YouTube channel. Batch film if you can. And then I sent 2 off to another editor, so he'll do 2, and I'll do a couple, and I'll have 4 videos that come out within a week and a half, where I wasn't even producing because I was so choked down by all my workload, even one a month. So and I was unhappy. I was starting to be unhappy by all the business that this thing had created. But the point is, you gotta stick to your lane, stick to your roots, like, and find ways to farm out the other stuff.
Yeah, that you've done masterfully. And for those of you who are watching and feeling like, well, okay, TikTok, I don't even use that or know what it is, or YouTube, do I have to do YouTube to get on major media and to build
Mhm.
my business? No. That's where Bobby's audience lives. That's it. You will do what's authentic for you. This is a a beautiful case study, a beautiful success story of somebody who, just like you said, Bobby, found his lane, knows where his people are, has
Yeah,
learned how to beautifully express his message right into their hands. So he's created this movement with his audience where they are all, in fact, raving fans. So, Bobby, anything else you want to contribute today before we wrap up?
sure. I like to just kind of cherry pick off your last point. You don't have to be a YouTube star to be successful. There are lots of ways to get your message out. So go back, even something as simple. I might go off the page here and it might not make any sense, but I remember as a kid, there were signs back in my childhood of what I was going to be, and I never saw them. I used to draw. I used to cut grass at 10 years old, and there was all these signs that I liked that kind of industry. And it was my thing being out with people and gaining customers as a 12-year-old and growing a business. So I naturally fell into that. I like to be in the spotlight kind of thing. But if you were naturally someone who journaled or liked writing, maybe a blog is for you. Maybe behind the camera, like a podcast or whatever it is. Just be true to you and where your comfort is. And like I said, don't be afraid to push that as well, because as soon as you start to get out of your comfort level, you might discover that maybe you do want to do this or that. You're not going to know unless you try. Like I said, I went way off page, but I think that try everything and see what you like.
Very good. And knowing the right roadmap to do those things and find what are the possibilities and where is my home. Specifically, where is the home of my audience? Where are my people? I
Right.
think that's some of the good work to be doing.
And look for
So
signs. I think is the whole gist of that, like blah that I just said, is look for signs. Look for things that speak to you. Is that a good way to sum up what I
it's a
just said?
beautiful way to sum up and brings us all right back to that unique personal authenticity
Right.
and self-expression. So, mm, Bobby, it is phenomenal to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.